Hey, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one chief rocker, Uncle Freezy, and welcome to the Salt and Pepper Podcast. You know what the Salt and Pepper Podcast it is by now, by episode 3. The Salt and Pepper Podcast is where a bunch of 50-year-olds or older generally speak about topics that are pressing or at times we just could care less about, but we just talk about them anyway. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the star of the show, the creator and the co-host of the Salt and Pepper Podcast, Teddy. What's good, boss?
Well, you were talking about stuff that was pressing for 50-year-old men. We're not going to have a prostate section on this thing
No,
because
no, no prostate checks.
yeah, I promise all of our prostates are probably pressing at this point now.
And especially not live. We're not going to
Not
do
live. We're not going to know and that's also a premium subscription to get that on to be able to view that. It's not just a regular click and subscribe. You got to pay for that. So
slash OnlyFans.
OnlyFans right now. So I thought about it. What do when I watch young basketball players and young soccer players, they remind me a lot of guys a little older than us. So we'll call them old dudes.
Right.
They all dribble too much.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of wasted energy dribbling. And I just don't know. It's too much dribbling.
So do old men and babies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They remind me of old men because they dribble too much.
Right.
and sometimes it feels about as fruitful. So, no, I mean, that's just my old man complaint for today.
Right.
They dribble too much.
Maybe we can make that a segment if we, on things going forward, an old man segment of the day. Maybe we can do a flash and do a few minutes on that. But while we're in the layup line getting loose, I'm gonna we're gonna get to heavier topics. But since we're warming up, did HBO provide the greatest run of television watching of any major television outlet?
How far back are we going?
Run.
Are we going Oz, The Wire, True Blood, Deadwood, John Cincinnati? We're going back that far?
The Sopranos.
Oh God, I forgot the Sopranos.
Yeah, Sopranos. Don't forget about the what's the show?
We haven't even talked Game of Thrones. I mean, we haven't
Game of Thrones is my favorite of all of them.
Sex in the City. A lot of the ladies like that show.
Yeah.
I'll say this. You'd be hard pressed to beat it as because 6 Feet Under was good. I mean, there's so many. If you can stomach some of the raunchier scenes, like some people can't stomach sex scenes, right? Some people can't stomach blood and gore. If you can stomach all of that, then they had a heck of a run. I'll tell you one that you may not even think of. In that same time period, USA Network had a similar run with Monk, Psych, Burn Notice, White Collar, Suits. Listen, at that era, it might be the golden era of television.
Wow.
Because it was well thought out. It was funny. If you want sex is in there. If you want violence is in there. I'm not saying singularly any of those shows were the best ever, but I'm not saying the collection couldn't be the best ever.
I before I jumped on, I thought about what era would be comparable, and I don't know if a singular network was as good top to bottom for as long top to bottom as HBO's run in the 2000s.
Listen, if you throw in Brian Gumbel's Real Sports and you throw in Real Time with Bill Maher,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you'd be hard pressed to beat him. Like Coco Loves and your boy Dan J and your boy Bo T, they all love Sons of Anarchy, which was another network. And as a singular show, it was one of the better shows ever. But man,
Right.
HBO's run. So you know why they quit with Bryant Gumbel? Because the people who bought HBO was like, that show's too expensive to keep running.
Right. Right.
And I get it. Everything's about money, but I don't know. I was totally enthralled with the Winning Time HBO series. And to me,
Really, Winning Time. Imagine that.
I know, right? To me, they didn't even get into the good of any of it. So I don't know why they so abruptly quit, because I would have liked to have seen a sister show on maybe the Celtics of that era, maybe the Knicks of that era, maybe the Pistons of that era. I would have loved to have seen, even if it's not factually 100%, I love the backstory on all of that, right? Because we hadn't seen the team tire of Pat Riley and Magic Johnson to where Pat Riley had the conversation with Dr. Buss, and he's like, hey, New York's calling me real heavily. And Dr. Buss is like, you know what? I think you should go. We didn't get to see any of that. And I think HBO missed, because it finished like in 82 or 83. So we didn't even get to see the full run of when all this got started, right?
Right.
We barely tapped into the Larry Bird character.
Right.
And I mean, I didn't know his dad killed himself. Did you?
No, I did not know that.
I didn't know that till I saw the show.
Right.
And so, and you know, I'm not a Larry Bird guy or a Celtics guy, but I sure would have liked to have seen the backstory,
The impact of it.
All of it, right? I'd have liked to seen them carry it out, and I never saw why they didn't do it unless the NBA put a lot of pressure on them, or you know, because remember, the NFL put a lot of pressure on them. What was that show that they did?
First and 10? Was it First and 10?
No, it was.
Or are you talking about the show with The Rock?
Not the show with The Rock. Ballers. They shut that down quick.
Yeah.
Playmakers. Coco's right. Coco's your TV.
Yeah.
Coco's your TV aficionado. We need to have Coco in on this, because she's got a little salt and pepper. But yeah, I don't know, but I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to see some of the. I didn't know who Jack McKenna was.
Right.
I mean, I knew the name and I knew all that, and I knew he had kind of gotten hurt. I didn't know it was because his darn brakes on his bicycle went out, or the cable.
Right. Right.
I mean,
yeah.
What's the coach of the
Lakers?
It was,
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I wasn't old enough to put it together that Westphal was the architect behind a lot of this stuff, the Loyola Marymount people. And I wasn't old enough to put all that together, that what they're doing today, Westphal, or no,
was doing in the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
He was doing that. So I would have liked to have seen some more of that play out.
Yeah.
Not to mention the actors were cast very well.
Yeah. And it's the cliche example, or the cliche phrase we like to use in a lot of scenarios where we can't describe what we're watching in real time. But when we reflect on it, we realize that they were ahead of their time.
Oh, yeah.
Westphal. So, you know, in real time, you can't understand it. It seems strange. But then when you reflect on it and see the impact of it in today's era, you know, you're like, okay. It's like with Teddy and podcasting. Like when we first started doing this in 2006,
right?
I think it was like December of 2006 when we first started doing this in December of 2006. Everything felt strange, right?
Like we didn't know what we were doing, but we knew what we were talking about was good, because these mugs are still talking about the same stuff. Remember, y'all clown me for the Oregon uniform podcast we did, and you're famous. I don't care if it's grass stained green.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what are they talking about now? And remember when I said, okay, give me your all-time Knicks lineup, and y'all got mad because I put Kareem at the 3.
Yeah. Kareem at the 3, bro. What are we doing?
Um,
What are we doing
and
now?
what do they talk? What do they do now? I mean, it's all over the place. So we were ahead of our time. I do want to throw on that. Did you ever see the show on HBO, John from Cincinnati?
Yes, parts. Not. I wasn't a huge fan, but
So Coco and I are the only people who watched it in the entire world, because I was so mad that they canceled it after 1 year, and then they extended Flight of the Conchords. I was like, that's stupid. HBO has lost it. And Nicole and I went. It's only one season of John from Cincinnati,
right.
and we went back and rewatched it. And if you look at the cast of it, it's got some heavyweights in it. Half of the people from Deadwood are in it.
Right.
And
this is after Deadwood too, right?
Right. It's the same guy who wrote Deadwood.
Yeah.
Because remember, Deadwood stopped because everybody wanted more money. And HBO's like, oh, we'll show you more money. How about no money? And so Deadwood stopped in the middle of what, season 3?
Season 3, right.
Yeah, and it didn't conclude till 15 years later. So the same guy that wrote, what was it, David like Millich or something like that, wrote Deadwood. He wrote John from Cincinnati. It had Luke Perry in it. It had, what's the kid, Mark Paul Gosselaar. It had Ed O'Neill in it. It had, I can't remember. It had Rebecca De Mornay in it.
Okay.
I mean, it had the cast was well done and it was great. But then we rewatched it and I go, you know what? It ended at a good time because to me, I have rarely seen any show go more. Once they hit season 4, season 5, they're doing too much.
Game of Thrones.
All of them. Every one of them.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Like after exploring certain storylines.
After the Sopranos chased down the Russians in the snow, in the woods, it was time to close out.
Yeah.
It was time to close out. And so I think shows stay on too long. Walking Dead, just name it. I think Seinfeld was right. Go when they're begging you to stay, not when they're asking you to leave.
Right. Seinfeld is the template now. I think Seinfeld is the template. There are other shows that are the template, right? But
sitcoms are dead now.
Well,
now Curb Your Enthusiasm went for 30 years.
Yeah, it seems like yeah.
It was close to 30, if not 30.
Yeah. It was,
and that's Seinfeld.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, basically.
Well, because Larry David was George Costanza. He's the real live George Costanza.
Yeah.
So all they did was
I think Larry David did a better job than George, though. I like Larry David better than I like George.
Well, I think Larry David's a Knicks fan, right?
Yeah, of course. So I think George Costanza is too. Jason, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Alexander.
Yeah.
But in fairness, Jason Alexander did a magnificent job, but Larry David was the central writer and he was the inspiration for it. So he should get better jobs.
Yeah, he should. Yeah.
And him being in the back of it didn't typecast him till he was ready to be typecasted.
Yeah.
Because Jason Alexander has talked about no matter what he did with his look, no matter he could like do all this, and everybody only saw him as George Costanza.
Yeah.
And Newman lost a ton of weight and couldn't get work.
Nah, because he's Newman.
Everybody wanted Newman.
Right.
And he's like, but I've lost all this weight and I'm blah, blah, blah. And they're like, it's not what we're looking for.
He grew his hair. He cut his hair.
Yep.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
So, no, it's
but Community on NBC. Did you watch that show Community?
I did not. I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. Let me tell you what I watch. And I have watched. So I let Boss Lady commandeer the TV.
You let her, or I thought she just did it and you were along for the ride.
Tomato.
Yeah, potato. I've never heard it called potato before.
So the thing was, I told her, I said, you can watch it wherever you want to watch, but we have to smooch during commercials, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, well, that's fine. And we went into that agreement early on in this, and then it didn't hit me. This is how much ahead of me she is. We start ordering the streaming services, which, by the way, are a pain in the butt. And cable or DirecTV is a lot easier and a lot more user friendly. It's just, I don't know if this way's cheaper. It doesn't feel cheaper, but for some reason or other, I think we're all locked into streaming services, but whatever.
Right.
So I started noticing as we started signing up for streaming services, she goes, make sure to get it without commercials. And I'm like, hell yeah, I don't like commercials either. Blah, blah, blah. And now, fast forward a couple years later, I'm like, I thought we were supposed to smooch during commercials.
Surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
There ain't no commercials.
Yes.
She's like, we are supposed to smooch during commercials. I'm like, but we ordered it without commercials. And she's like, hush, 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 the next one's starting.
Yeah.
So,
and you're paying for it. So you're
I'm paying
not
for
to
it.
smooch.
And I'm the poor schmuck that set it up.
Yeah.
to be no commercials. So we have watched every episode of NCIS and every iteration of NCIS, whether it was NCIS Darlington, NCIS
Florence,
Britain's Neck, Florence, whatever it is. We've watched every NCIS. We have watched the remake of Hawaii Five-0, which was really good. We've watched the remake of Magnum PI, which I think is better than the original Magnum PI. Nobody wants to hear that. Yeah. And we've watched Sons of Anarchy, and we've watched all these shows. So I watch all these shows that she likes, and she always likes the NCIS franchise. And now we're watching FBI or some mess like that. And honestly, I'm not interested in anything.
So moving on to something that I think you are interested in. So I have two things, right? And I think they kind of go together a little bit. I think we can tie them together, even if they don't go organically.
Okay.
So I'm in this weird phase of trying to figure out my body, right? And so here's the thing. So as somebody in their 50s, for about 30 years, I've heard eat right, sleep well, exercise, and your body will look the way that you want it to look, right? And so for about 20 years, I've been trying to eat right, exercising, going to the gym, getting as much sleep as I can. In the very beginning, getting sleep where I can. Now I'm at the state of sometimes you just have to come wake me up because I'll fall asleep, on some stuff. Right. And
so, your vocation now requires you don't work a 9 to 5, so you keep weird hours because one of the main hallmarks of your profession could start at 10 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
At a minimum, it starts at 8:30, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
And goes to what could be 1, could be 2. So, and then you have the recaps, and so you're not, but
so you have pre-production,
production, you have all of that. You have hours and hours and hours in
editing.
Yep.
Yeah, all of these different things that will time. But the thing is outside of that itself, I feel like we've been lied to over the years that if you do a certain thing, you will get a certain result. And I've seen people of all ages, all ages, races, sexes, body types, endomorphs, ectomorphs. The promise is if you do a certain thing, you'll look like this, bro. And I promise you, as much work as we put in, bro, none of us have ever achieved the Chris Evans body, right?
Okay, now keep this in mind. Chris Evans has access to drugs and medication and resources that we don't have. We don't have all of the access to all of the things that he has because we aren't Chris Evans. Now, so let me I think we were lied to in the opposite. Because I do think eat well, to especially the guys in our 50s, the eating well is probably 90% of the game. The working out's the other part, and the sleep. I think where I went my entire life not sleeping and making jokes about we'll sleep when we're dead, and now I
Right.
need sleep, and sleep's kind of like you dead yet, funny man, and
Yeah.
and so forth. But I think we were lied to on all these other things and the way to get to this. I think we were lied to about what will get us there, because if you sort of circle back to what's coming out, eat well, exercise, not for aesthetics, but for functionality and health, is going to be the difference in longevity. Now, if take a guy who, so Pink Pom Poms asked me the other night, we saw another dad down the way who's ripped up. I mean, the body of an Adonis, okay?
Right.
And Pink Pom Poms is like, why don't we look like that? And first, let me say that other guy's a professional athlete. He's a professional jiu-jitsu guy. He's a world champion.
Right.
So he micromanages, and he has always micromanaged what he's eaten.
Right.
And he's always micromanaged his workouts. So where you were young and fit and virile, you said something to me a long time ago. They taught you how to put on weight. They taught you how to eat to put on weight for your boxing matches, but
Yep.
they never taught you how to not eat like that once you were done.
Right.
Okay. I've always sort of had that in the back of my head. Now, if you always ate like a boxer and trained like a boxer, you would still look like a boxer. Same with me. When I was running marathons, now, ironically, I'm only like 20 pounds heavier than when I was running marathons. So I was not razor thin. I was a lot thinner than I am now, but I was not razor thin like I thought I was going to be.
Right.
So you remember early when you first met me, how thin I was?
Yes.
70
I met you after you had lost a lot of weight.
Correct. And I'm 70 pounds different from that. So what's
Okay.
the difference? We micromanaged every bite we took, and we micromanaged every activity. We wouldn't come to your house for dinner unless we went and ran.
Right.
So when we would go to the hockey games, we'd roll into Arby's, funny Arby's, because we could get this meal here and it was within our Weight Watcher program points. We had already worked out. Okay. We left work. We got a quick workout in. We went to Arby's, ate it on the run. It wasn't even that good. It was like pasta. They're like meatless pasta and like one potato cake. A lot of carbs, which is against the rules, but it fit into our point system. And then we would go watch the first period. Then the intermission, we would walk around the entire concourse area for 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then watch the second period. And then the third period, the second intermission, we would walk around the concourse area again. And then if it was a Friday night or a Saturday night, we would go out dancing and clubbing
Right.
till 3 and 4 in the morning. So we were burning gazillions of calories and only taking in fact, we were taking in so little fat and calories, we were losing our hair.
Right. Right.
So now you're not at your fighting weight. Fair?
No. No,
Okay,
I'm
I'm
at
not.
a fighting weight now.
Okay,
No.
right.
Yeah. Let's
I'm
not get
fighting the
I'm at
Reaper.
a fighting weight, but not my prime fighting weight.
Right.
Right.
I'm fighting the Reaper at this weight.
Yo, that last jelly donut, bro.
Oh, oh.
There will be a
And
fight for that last jelly donut, right? So,
listen,
yeah.
and we can agree. Playoff NBA and playoff NHL jelly donuts hit way differently than regular season jelly donuts.
Yes.
And we can admit that, and that we're weak sometimes. We can admit that, right? Like I've not too long ago, I bench pressed more than I've ever bench pressed, at least in recent memory.
Salute for that. Yeah.
So the twins got me lifting weights and pushing, so I can push some weight. On Saturdays when I referee, I have 12,000 steps before 11:30.
Salute for that. Yeah.
And I feel like John Travolta at the opening scene of Saturday Night Fever when he was at the Brooklyn Bridge, he's walking under with the paint can.
Yeah.
I feel like that, and I'm like, da-da, da-da. But then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh God, you ain't John Travolta. You're not even. So my point to all that is, if I think the recipe is correct, I don't think we were lied to. I think they didn't tell us. So I need to lose 50 to 60 pounds to not be considered obese. Okay. So let me give you the math on that at 52 years old. It is no less than 8 months to a year of micromanaging everything I eat and everything I drink, plus not backsliding on the working out.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you get the weekends off. It doesn't mean you get a cheat day. It doesn't. The cheat day is for the people who are already at their desired.
Yeah, and I feel you. I hear you, man. But I think it's bullshit, bro. I think it's dogs chasing cars.
Okay, so
right.
No, it is. It is. So how do we get there?
Is it so? But hear me out. So I want to add a separate thing.
Okay.
Right. But it may be equal. Right. I think a lot of us are more concerned about how we look versus how healthy we are. Right. If we could get legit, if you could get a strong 70 years of health looking like Jack LaLanne body type for 70 years, and then you check out, I think a lot of people would sign up for that. Versus everybody
would sign up for it.
Yeah, versus being super healthy, micromanaging everything, not having that Jack LaLanne type look, right? But living to be 100.
Yeah.
Right? No. Right. A lot of us
trying to live to 100.
And I know it's superficial, right? I know it's superficial, but a lot of us would rather look like the supporting actor on an HBO show for 70 years than rather being dumpy looking but healthy with no medicines for 100 years.
I would rather look like a lead actor for 62 years than add 15 more years. Because again, I can bench press a good bit of weight.
Right.
Do I look like I can bench? No, I don't. I don't present that way.
Are you built like Rey Mysterio Jr.? No. Right.
My natural build is like Rey Mysterio Jr.'s son.
Or Rey Mysterio the third. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. My natural build, but I got to be honest with you. I like snacks. That's what I told the pink pom poms. I like snacks too much. I can call for me. I can color it any way I want to, but I mean, I'm the one backsliding.
And I think the margins are too thin, right? I think the
No, there's
margins
no
are
margin. There's no
right,
margin for error.
bro. There are legit. If you are hungry on a Friday night, but you've already eaten and you're within your eating schedule, you have to wait until your schedule starts again the next day. So you're talking about maybe 9 hours
12
of
hours.
thinking about what that meal is going to be.
I remember when we were losing our weight at the apex, right? When we were killing it and like literally killing it, I would have already exhausted my calories or points or whatever you want to call it, right?
Whatever the counting measure is, because there's
Whatever
always
the
a
measure
counting
is,
measure.
whatever the counting measure is. And I remember not one night, not 2 nights, like extended time periods where it's one of the things where I go, I don't know if I want to do it. Going to bed hungry
Right.
just because I said, screw it, we got to go to bed because if I don't go to bed, I'm going to eat.
Right.
Now, flash forward a few years, we have 3 sons and a house full of kids. So did I tell you about the doctor I went to a couple months ago? Because I feel like I've gotten so heavy that it's causing problems.
These doctors, they must they all go to the same school of something because they all
They
think
do.
alike.
They do. And this one lady was a resident, and she was super clinical and she was super dry. And she's asking me, and she's this little, I mean, she looked like if Caitlin Clark was a dull looking blonde.
Okay.
Because she's not dull enough looking, but whatever. And she's sitting there and she doesn't know my sense of humor. And she's like, so
Really?
yeah. And she didn't get it. So she's
imagine. Can you imagine?
So she's coming in she asked me stuff like, I would like for you to see a counselor. I said, like a nutritionist? She's like, no, a counselor.
A psychologist, somebody in that.
Like a psychiatrist.
To change the way you think, right?
Yeah. And she's like, yeah. I said, listen, I got to be honest with you, Doc. Anything she's going to say is going to fall upon deaf ears. I said, I know the formulas. I'm not doing the formulas right. I know the formulas. I'm not, and she's not, I said, she's going to tell me not to eat whatever. And I'm going to, if she's one of these people that go, you know, carrot sticks taste just as good as candy. Fuck no, they don't.
Man, please.
They don't make any candy that tastes like carrot sticks.
Or because if they did, why would you need candy?
Right. And so I'm like, if she's one of these people, I ain't gonna listen to her anyway. And so she goes, so what is it about cutting back? Do you feel like that's depriving you from something? I was like, isn't it the definition of depravity?
Right.
And she's like, well, so you feel like you're deprived? I said, okay, for me to lose 60 pounds, what can I eat in the grocery store? I said, I go into whatever grocery store you want me to go. What can I eat? Oh, there are a lot of things you can eat. There's like, no, you can't.
No, you can't.
You can't eat any of it.
Right.
You can't eat any of it. And then she's like, and I'm like, and you know, I got to be honest. And I'm like, yo. I got 3 teenage boys, and sometimes I snack with them.
And sometimes they have friends come over, and sometimes to feed a party, you just grab like 4 or 5 pizzas because it's like $30.
Right.
And then instead of you fixing a separate healthy meal, you just eat what they eat. Yeah.
Right. And she goes, so what kind of snacks are you snacking on? And I swear to God, I go, look. I'm like, you know what I'm snacking on?
Right. I look like a snack.
Right. If I was snacking on carrot sticks, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And then she hits me with well, did you think that maybe you should teach your boys how to snack on positive stuff so you'll be or healthy stuff so you could be a good influence on them? I'm like, did you just say I'm a bad influence on my kids? I'm like, whoa.
Right.
And so I don't know.
May I offer two things?
You
I wanna,
bring whatever you got.
I like to offer options, right?
Okay.
I don't want to manipulate the way that you think about a certain topic. What I
Okay.
like to do is offer intel and then have you wherever direction you go with it, you go with it, right? And it's
Okay.
the same
All
thing
right.
for the viewers. Y'all have been watching us now for about 36 minutes. And so what I want to do is introduce how I go about things and how I engage you guys, the viewing audience that are listening to us past the 35-minute mark. I like to offer information for you to think about and for you to come up with your own information, you, the audience, and then contact us. Hit us up in the comment section, hit the like button, share this stuff with others, help us round out a more robust conversation, help keep the conversation going, and elevate the conversation to a higher place because with more information, smart people can have better conversations,
Yes.
right?
Very
So
much so.
so I'm gonna offer this to Teddy. A few things. I thought it was a couple, but it's a few things.
I'm ready.
Do you believe the producers of our food may have exchanged our health for profits? That's one. The medical system. Do you think the medical system has exchanged profits for our health, right? And two, do you think society judges us at a vastly more harsh rate than they used to judge us to the point of maybe body shaming people at this point? Now, I know that's a lot to take in,
It's
right?
easy.
But I just wanted to offer that to see if that is one of the reasons why a lot of people try because of body shaming. They fail because of the food that they're offered. They go seek help and they fail, but they get hooked into a system that offers them medication and things that also always slides them back to or backslides them. And I know backslides them is not the proper term,
Right.
but I'm
Right. No,
using it
it
in
works.
this
It
sense
works.
so that
Right.
that people understand where I'm coming from. Like for those of you guys that are watching this, that maybe initially you were 20 pounds overweight after a holiday, right? You were at your ideal weight. A holiday came, you got 20
Or a
pounds
kid
overweight,
game.
and then you went
Or a
on a
kid
diet.
game.
And then you went on a diet, you lost 15 pounds, you're only 5 pounds over, you almost got there, something happens, say a new job, say you have to commute to a new job where you have
Right.
less time to eat in the morning.
Right.
Now you're
Right.
eating in your car, right? And then now you're eating on your car in your car on the way home and to work. And now you put on 40 pounds and then you go on a diet and you lose 25 pounds and
And
now you're only 15 pounds away
you're
from
still
that.
35 pounds too heavy now.
Right. So what I've found over the years is that has happened to me, and I don't mind sharing my story because I'm one that has done all of those things. I've taken the pills, the pills on the on TV. I think one of them was like Hydroxycut. Like take Hydroxycut and you'll look like this beach model in 3
Right.
weeks.
Right.
Right? Or the Frank Thomas thing, him and Doug Flutie, like,
Oh,
man,
yeah,
your
yeah,
drive
yeah.
will be kicked into overdrive if you take this pill.
Right.
Right. But then you go to the doctor, and the doctor is like, yeah, there's no magic pill, but there's a magic process. I can send you to 7 other people, and all
Right.
7 of those people are gonna get paid big time.
Right. We're gonna grease a lot of palms here.
Yeah, on your way to being told that they're gonna tell you at the end of the visits with those 7 people is probably gonna run you in a range of $17,000 before you finish, right?
Right.
And luckily, insurance covers a lot of it, but we still have to pay our portion. But at the end
Oh,
of
yeah.
those 7 visits, you know what they're going to tell you? The same thing that Doctor One told you.
Yeah. No, they're gonna tell you you're not doing it right.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
So we went to one of those fat doctors one time where they give you the pills.
Yeah.
And they put you on that 800 calorie
I did that
diet.
Yeah.
And notice they give you like a Prozac or a Xanax in there in that pill mixture so you don't shoot up the place.
Yeah.
And I'd lost, so they told us this was going to happen. They told us week 1, you're going to lose a ton of weight.
Right.
Week 2, you're barely going to lose any weight, if any. So I'm sitting in there and I barely lost. In fact, I think I maintained like maybe a 0.8 loss.
Right.
And this little 20-year-old girl who weighed 4 pounds, and I'm raising sand about it. And she's like, well, are you still managing your portions? How big is the salad you eat? And I was like, blood. Like that. And she looked me dead in the face and said, well, there's your problem. You're eating too much lettuce. You son of a bitch. You ever ate too much lettuce? You ever ate too much lettuce and that's what caused you to get fat? Have you ever eaten too much? I could have choked. I almost, on my way to Waffle House, almost choked that little girl's eyes out.
But here's the thing. Did you pay for that program?
Oh, I paid heavily.
You paid for that program, right? And then at the end of the day, the result was the same as if you never went.
Well, no, I did lose a lot of weight, but it cost you a large car payment. Now,
I'm talking about long term.
Long term, it would cost you as much more than it would cost you thousands of dollars long term.
Yeah.
So you remember when Dan Danger had his magazine out? Did you know him back then when he produced a magazine?
I had just met him.
Okay, so I wrote an article for him in one of his magazines 20 years or so ago that the USDA or the FDA stands for what?
My dog is barking.
It's okay. What does FDA stand for?
Food and Drug something.
Administration.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was administration or association. One of them.
Administration. So what? Let's just unpack that. So the people that are in charge of our food are the same people that are in charge of our drugs.
Right.
And what's the best way to ensure lifelong employment?
Work hard?
Nope.
Do what your boss tells you to do?
Nope. You're the Food and Drug Administration. You produce one product that necessitates the other one.
Oh, you're talking about them as an organization, not me as a...
No, not you as a go-getter. Yeah. I'm talking about if you were the FDA, would you make stuff that cured stuff? No, because
you grease palms, bro. The thing about greasing palms,
that's what I'm saying. The food that we eat is poison,
right?
And the medicine we take is poison. So the answer to your original 2 questions is yes. Both of those entities, the food we eat, the producers of that sacrificed our health for profit, and the producers of our medicine have long sacrificed our health for profit because we want a magic pill. Nobody wants to cut back and nobody wants to run 6 miles and we all want the magic pill, and they're trying their best to come up with a magic pill.
See, but that's where, so first of all, the palm being greased and the greaser of the palm both have greasy palms, for one.
And listen, they're not just greasing your palms. I promise there's some other things getting greased for sure. And you find out when he's got both greasy hands on your on your shoulders. You're like, wait, that's greasy too.
Yeah. And so the point that I'm making is it doesn't matter if you're a disciplinarian for yourself, if you're a disciplined person. I think the odds are so stacked against you that if you're a disciplined person, and a lot of us are, now we don't want to admit how disciplined we are. Right.
I'm not.
But you go to work every day on time, right? It takes discipline. right? You don't let people around you go off the rails and go bananas, right?
Okay,
That
but listen,
exists.
think about the term cheat day. Okay,
Right.
think about that. In all of your sports that you've watched all these years, nobody wants a cheater. There's such negative connotations with the word cheat, right? So think about attaching that to, I have put in all this work. I get to go eat something that I want to eat, and it's cheating. And it's
Right.
dirty.
Right.
And it's
But what I'm saying to you though is everybody has inhibitors, right? Like doors that, well, most people have inhibitors where they get to a certain point and they know that's a line that they shouldn't cross. Right. And the point that I'm making about the cheat day thing, the cheat day means cheat about one thing, but not everything. Like you say cheat day doesn't mean cheat on your wife. It
no,
doesn't
no,
mean
no,
cheat on
no,
your
no, no, no,
taxes.
no, no, no,
It
no, no.
means cheat
It'll
on
cost you.
food.
Well, ironically, if you cheat on your wife and get divorced, that dude will be throwing up for 6 months and be bragging to everybody he's down 40 pounds. I'm like, yeah, but you
Yeah.
you jumped off the bridge 3 times.
Yeah.
But I think, in my opinion, some of it is a lie, some of it is propaganda, some of it is there. I think, in my experience, it's been, if you never get off of the wagon, you never have to get back on the wagon.
Right.
But I do know this: the church and the gym will take you back no matter how badly you've backslidden.
Right.
You can always go back, but it's easier to keep up than catch up. If you
Does
stay,
it require money?
oh, did you know the number one predictor of your health and your obesity is socioeconomic status?
Yes.
It's not race, it's not culture, it's
Yep.
not gender. It's are you brought up in a more affluent family than a non-affluent family?
Does that not apply to everything?
Well, it I can tell you this. I would bet growing up with money is better than not growing up with money.
Right.
Or growing up without money. I don't think there's
For
anything.
those watching, we're not pointing the finger at people that are wealthy or pointing the finger at people that are not wealthy.
No, these are scientific numbers. These are scientific. We're not pointing any fingers. The data shows that people who, so a Little Caesars pizza is what, $6, $7?
$6, bro.
Okay.
You could feed legit, and I'm speaking from experience, but I could feed my kids and all their friends for like $32, including soda.
Yep.
Right.
Or there's this little place across from where I work. Sometimes I've quit doing it because I just feel like it's highway robbery. I go get a salad and a Diet Mountain Dew at lunch. It's a good salad, and obviously the Diet Mountain Dew is good. It's $15.
Yeah.
Or I could get 3 Little Caesars pizzas.
Or you can get 3 Little Caesars pizzas, bro.
So it's set up because, again, it's set up to, one, make us fat, make us unhealthy. Then it feeds the other side of it. The doctors and everybody get their take on it. And then they're going to berate you for being fat. I had a doctor, because Philip had eaten like a brown wrap every day for like 2 weeks on the way to school. And so when he did his blood work, his cholesterol was through the roof. And a doctor just sat there and tore me out the frame because Philip's cholesterol was bad, and basically was saying, hey, you're putting a real bad. So I've had 2 doctors tell me I'm a bad influence on my kids.
Right.
Because of eating habits. And
right.
So
right. But you know what though? I don't think it's about behavior, bro. Like the doctors, and for the record, let me just say this because I know 2 doctors very well, like speak to me like on nickname basis, right?
okay.
That's how well I know them. Like one because of a civic activity I used to do. I didn't know he was a doctor until we were like very cool, right? And then another, he just saw my challenges. He looked at my medical chart and just like he came in, he was like, hey, bro, I'm just gonna keep it real with you, bro. It looked like you trying to do all the right things. I'm reading all the comments you made over the years. I'm reading your progress. I see your weight is going up and down, bro. Whatever it is, like he legit met me where I was in my journey, right?
Okay.
Normally doctors don't do that. But listen, the thing about those two though, there are so many myths about doctors that doctors legit are like school teachers now, bro. In that framework of they can't veer outside of a thing.
No.
Because because they're in a system where if they veer outside of the norm, they get canceled.
Well,
right?
So the overall,
and they're not rich. Let's also state that, because doctors could legit make $250,000 a year and have about $300,000 in debt.
I don't want to hear them poor mouthing. Okay, let me say that. I don't want to hear doctors poor mouthing.
Yeah, it's about debt to income ratio, bro. It's not how much you make; it's how much you have left.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear poor mouthing from doctors.
Yeah.
Also, the insurance companies are who's driving all of this. That's the Illuminati. That's the mafia. That's they're
owned by investors, bro.
Right.
The investors drive the lawyers, who drive the insurance companies, who drive the doctors.
Correct. So I went to a doctor a few years ago because I thought I'd torn my rotator cuff, right? Because I couldn't even lift my shoulder. And in fact, I can barely lift my shoulder now. See,
you thought you tore your what?
Huh?
You thought you tore your what?
My rotator cuff.
Bro, what is this?
I started noticing I couldn't even lift my shoulder to wash my hair, blah, 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 blah. I knew it was real bad. We were at Carowinds.
You sure that wasn't just fat?
Well, hang on. There's the fat's got a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
And so we were at Carowinds and we were at that, the 3-point shot.
Yeah.
Where they give you
the other monetary scam. Yeah. Right.
That and the kids are like, you want to take a shot? I'm like, all right. And I went to shoot and I couldn't shoot. My arm fell down. I was like, oh, we're in trouble. When I can't shoot a basketball, we're in dire straits here. So I went to the doctor and I'm sitting there with this orthopedic doctor. He's like, no, I think you got bursitis. You haven't torn anything. It's just a bursa sac full of pain, blah, blah, blah. And listen, this is, swear to God, this is hand to God, the conversation. I said, well, just, as I leave, is there anything I should do therapeutically or not do in terms of make it worse? He looked me dead in the eye. He goes, if it hurts, don't do it. Yeah. Pay the lady on the way out.
My homeboy tell me that all the time. The one doctor I told you that I met during civic stuff, that's what he told me. He was like, bro, listen, what I could, and this is his rationale, right? And I'm not going to say his name because I don't want people to think that he's Dr. Pepper or Dr. Doolittle. This is a dude with a major reputation, well respected. He's like, hey, bro, listen.
Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah, Dr. Feelgood. Yeah. He was like, bro, it's as simple as this. I can add something to your chart and your insurance rates are going to skyrocket. Or I can tell you if it hurt, don't do it. I can tell you, like if there's an activity or something that's causing this, stop it. Or I can write.
Sleeping's causing it. Sleeping's causing my damn shoulder to hurt.
You know what? With me, you know what it was? For me, it was a fat guy running on a treadmill.
As a fat guy who has run on a treadmill, let me tell you one thing. Old guys don't need side chicks, okay?
Right.
Because I have always been a runner, right? And I've always loved basketball.
Yep.
Okay? The more I play basketball, the less I'm able to run.
Yep.
because my side chick messes up the relationship for both. And not only do I lose my number one, I lose my side chick in the process.
Yeah.
Because
but you know what the irony is? Have you seen these runners when they get 60?
Yeah.
Do you see their legs and knees and ankles, bro?
Yeah.
Do you see these professional basketball players after they get 50, 60 years old, bro?
Half of them die before 50.
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
Well, and most wrestlers don't make it to 50.
I'm saying, bro.
So you want a funny old man story?
You want me to share one, or you have one queued up?
How about my hair? What are you doing with my hair? At any rate,
are you using Beijing?
Huh?
Are you using Beijing? Your hair is really not white at this age.
No, I'm white over here.
Oh, okay. All right.
You see all this? I got a lot of frost on the pumpkin. Now I'm holding up good. I'm holding up good for old man. So this was this summer, and I'm out there playing outdoor courts. It's 100 degrees with 6 teenagers. And a few years ago I tore my Achilles, right? But since then I've run and I've played ball.
Achilles?
Yeah, and I didn't rupture it.
Okay, and that's an overreaction by me, everybody. I actually saw him after he did it. So
and
that was a classic content creator overreaction.
Right. I've run Spartan races and everything, but I can't wear dress shoes anymore because the Achilles goes, no, we can't do that. So I have to wear sneakers everywhere I go, even if it looks ridiculous or I can't walk. So whatever. I've played a lot of basketball since then, so it's not a big deal. We're there, and one of the kids is 6'5". Okay. He's not a basketball player, but he's big. Huh?
Is he a black kid?
No. These are all white kids, ironically.
What?
These are all white kids. We're playing basketball. And now one is a varsity basketball player, so he's too fast, too strong. I can't do anything with him. Okay. Right. All I can do is try. So I finally start cooking. And the big kid goes, I can't believe we're letting this old man kill us.
Did he call you old man, or did he curse?
No, he called me an old man. These kids don't curse. I'm the one who curses. I
would rather he had cursed, bro. I would rather for him to call me an old.
And so listen, I'm walking back to check it up, right? I'm walking back to the top of the key to check it up. And in my head, I'm like, I'm about to barbecue your ass. I turn into Buford T. Justice. I'm a barbecue your ass in molasses.
No diddy.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I go, and I don't even think it was a pick and roll. It was more of a check. I get the ball back. So it wasn't really a pick and roll. It was more of a roll. I saw the hole to the basket open up, and I know I'm not going to dunk. Okay. I know I'm not going to, but I know I can get to the basket, and I know I'm going to make it. If Big Boy comes and blocks it, there's nothing I can do because he's a big dude. And You got to try it. I got to try it because I'd already gotten past the varsity athlete. So I already know I got to make up some ground because he's way faster and can jump. I know if Big Boy comes, I got to just put it up. I take one step and my damn Achilles goes, not today.
Yeah, today. I'm gonna stay right here. Yeah, his Achilles said, I'm gonna stay right here. Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna stay right here.
I'm laying there, face up, and I got 6 teenagers staring over me like this. You good?
Like an Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah, and I'm like, you motherfuckers better get out my face.
Right.
Y'all better carry y'all's candy asses somewhere else. So I get up, and I feel good. I'm going to try it again. You know what happened.
But the foot is floppy. Yeah.
And so it's just one of those moments of your dignity just wilts away.
Right.
Now.
But let me ask this real quick on the Achilles story.
Yeah.
Like once the Achilles was hurt, right? Did you gain weight after that because of the lack of activity?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So something in my head should have gone, hey, you're down for 6 or 8 months. Maybe you should eat better and eat less. No, 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 no. Something was in my head going, they're not going to make food ever again. So you got to eat it all. You got to eat it all. So I did the opposite. So one more funny old man basketball story.
Let me ask this
Yeah.
on that story though.
Okay.
In that moment, did you consider that you may have been grieving emotionally because your body went through a change? Did that ever occur to you?
Well, I think that's what the lady wanted me to learn, coping mechanisms that weren't with food.
Right.
I don't think it was grieving. I think it was anger. And Coco says it's Greek hard headedness.
I think it's probably all the same.
Well, and that's how we show love is food. No, listen, it was me being undisciplined. It was me being
Because
undisciplined.
but you changed your eating habit because of an event, right?
Oh no, if you call getting worse, changing my habit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got worse. Yeah, I got worse.
Yeah, I think the events that
So
happen to
yeah,
us.
yeah, I think it was a coping mechanism for something. It was
Yeah.
it was a caloric filler for something emotionally, whether it be anger, defiance, lamentations, whatever.
Right.
Yes, it was an emotional filler.
Right,
Somewhere.
right. Because what people don't, because what a lot of people won't admit as is the feeling of being full is a feeling of being satisfied at the same time.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's comfort. Also, now I'll say this: I know inherently, if I'm super stressed out, something's going really wrong,
Right.
I need something sweet.
Yeah.
And listen, I wish I could say I did it the right way, but I've been doing it the wrong way for a few years. And now when you get in your 50s, you got to start thinking about stuff like, does the motor still run the way it's supposed to? Are you fueling it the right way?
Right.
Or everything that you don't do, if you don't lift weights, if you don't do hip flexor stuff, if you don't do that, when you fall 10 years from now, number one, can you get back up?
Are you going to be able to wait? Can you brace your fall?
Can you
Right.
brace your fall
That's the
without
main thing. Because
shattering?
when people get older, when they fall, they don't have the ability to brace themselves.
Right.
And that's
Right.
why the impact is so impactful.
And their bones have shriveled up and
Right.
everything, and they have no
Right.
muscularity. I'm plenty strong, okay? I'm
Right.
plenty strong. I got to get my running game back up. I mean, if I wanted to, if I took the rest of the summer, I could bench press 250 by midsummer,
By
or
midpoint,
maybe
yeah.
if I wanted to. But I'm too thick as it is. I need to go down. I don't need to thicken up. But
Right.
I mean, I'm plenty strong, but it starts becoming medicinal. I don't know that I'm ever going to look the way I want to look. I don't think I'm going to.
Do you feel people body shame you in these instances? Like, do you see
I,
guys at
I
work and feel like, man, all I need to do is 6 months, I could look like him?
no, no. I think people dismiss me athletically because
Yeah.
I'm old and fat. Like, there are alumni soccer games that I would love to get in on, but nobody ever asks. And I go, I bet it's because I'm fat, and they look at me as an old fat guy, and they don't think there's any chance in Hades
Right.
that I can play. I scored a bunch of goals on a almost undefeated junior high team last year. I practiced against them a couple times, and I scored a ton on them, and they almost won the league. So I mean, but on the surface, you wouldn't have thought that. You would have slept on me.
But how does that make you feel? The junior high stuff aside, how does that make you feel when your contemporaries don't view you as possibly being on their level when you feel as if you may be better than them? Is that a social thing, or is that you don't have the appearance thing?
Ironically, you would think it would make me work harder, but I think I sulk. I think I go and just double down and go, no, give me 2 of those. Give me 2.
Give me 2 of those chocolate chip cookies, yeah.
Yeah, give me 3 of those chocolate chips are a 3 pack. But yeah, I think it's just also stubbornness, my stubbornness and lack of wanting to be bossed around. That might be the Janice.
You and I are the same.
That might be Janice. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're the same in that mindset. Like, okay, so I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to anybody going forward who may be my boss, or anybody in the past that may have been my boss. I don't like having bosses, bro. The one thing I could give a shit about is being bossed around.
And I could give less of a shit. If you couldn't give a shit, I couldn't give whatever's less than a shit.
Right. That's one of those. And it's not that I don't like structure. I enjoy structure. Like I perform well in structure, right? But it has to be my created structure that
right.
Right?
I'll give you
my created structure. I thrive in that. And I know that makes me different from a lot of others, but it's also how I get the most of my sensory things going on. Like right. All my senses operate better when I'm left alone to my own devices where I can operate. Right.
Well, I've told people, if you want me to operate at optimal Teddy levels, I need some space.
You're right.
I don't need you bringing in a power forward to crowd the middle.
Right. And a center.
Right. I need floor spacing so I can do what I got to do. All right. Can I tell my other old man funny basketball story?
Yeah.
You probably heard this before. So back when we used to take the 2 nephews and my 3 boys to Florida every year, we would spend a lot of time playing basketball. Me and Cole would take on anybody from anywhere. And if we had to run threes, Gus would be there because he's 6'4", but can't even rebound. But that's a story for another day.
Right.
And I notice everybody's shoes before I notice them, right?
Right.
So this is an outdoor complex, and we're coming off of it. I think we're all walking to dinner. And I notice it's the same dude as me, but it's a black family. It's a middle-aged black guy with 3 or 4 teenage black guys, okay? What did I notice about him first? Shoes. He's wearing Brooks running shoes.
Right.
I said, okay, first of all, most black dudes don't wear Brooks running shoes.
Don't wear no shit like that.
Right. If they're going to wear running shoes, it's going to be Nike, right? It ain't going to be no Brooks.
Come on, we're black. We're black. We don't always do things that make sense, bro.
But how many black dudes do you know wear Brooks running shoes?
How much time I got to find somebody?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I thought to myself, I was like, okay, black dude in Brooks running shoes. I get it. We're in Florida. It's a different world. And I go, I hope that cat ain't playing 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 in running shoes. Because that's a disaster waiting to happen. So anyway, we're walking back from the restaurant, and they are carrying this old man out, Cleopatra style.
Right.
And I looked, and they're all looking
to some foreign hospital that's unfamiliar to him. He's probably gonna spend all night in the emergency room in some foreign hospital
and ruin the whole vacation.
Foreign city.
Ruin the whole vacation because he can't walk. I looked at those dudes with me. I said, listen, don't you ever carry me out in broad daylight like Cleopatra.
Yeah.
I said, y'all roll my ass over to the side. One of y'all go get the van, and I'll wait till damn dark, and I will army crawl out of this mug before
I'll let dew land on me first.
Listen, I'll let snakes curl up on me. I'll lay there with the alligators before I let y'all carry me out.
Right.
Cleopatra style. But I love basketball, but I don't think I should play much of it at this point.
Right. Right.
It creates more problems than it's worth.
Right. Like most things, there's a balance. But in these last few moments, man, I just want to ask about this topic of bullying, right? And so I don't know about like in terms of the primary bullying, like of kids, but I
Okay.
do think there is an element of bullying in the workplace
Oh yeah. Oh
where
yeah.
there's an
There is.
element of bullying. Like if you don't conform to a certain way, then you're not going to be invited to the mainstream whatever is going on.
Yeah. Oh
Right.
yeah. So there's okay. So there's bullying in church
Yep. Yep.
because I wear shorts to one of the most conservative churches, if not the most conservative church, and I know it cost me opportunities to participate because I wear shorts. Now, my whole life, I've been somehow I must put off maverick vibes or rebellious vibes. Okay.
Right. Right.
Like I had this young lady who was in our Sunday school class with her parents, and I'm like, "Why are you in here with the old people?" And she's like, "I get along with old people better." And she's kind of awkward, and she looks at me and she goes, "I can see that you have mischief in your eyes."
Right.
And Coco starts going, hee, hee, hee,
Surprise.
hee. And she goes, "You just got teddied. You
Yeah.
just got teddied." So something about me has always tripped those people's wire that they go, "Ooh, we got a reclamation project."
Right.
No,
Right.
you don't. No, you don't.
Right. Yeah.
No, you don't.
You'll be
No.
bullied. But here's the thing to your point though. To your point, you and me as well. I don't know if that's the proper way to state it,
It's
but
fine.
you and I,
Yep.
right? We have a diverse background, diverse upbringing, so to speak,
Yep.
right? But we also mingle in every day. I mingle in this conservative crowd
Yep.
of people
Yep.
that think their way of doing it is the proper way of doing it.
Or
And
the
if
only
you're
or the
outside, yeah,
or
and
the
if you're
only way.
yeah, or the only way of doing it, and if you do it outside that way, then you have a slower
Right.
mixing period in terms of getting to know some of those people because they'll be more guarded and less opportunities will be afforded to you, whether they're
Well,
financial or just social.
well, and they'll shun you. They'll keep you out of the loop or out of the clique or out of the whatever. I mean, the last job that I interviewed for was a few years ago, and it would have been a substantial pay increase. Okay,
Okay.
like a substantial pay increase. I thought I had it, except for when I look back on it, the guy that was interviewing me was a retired Air Force.
Right.
And because I thought everybody else liked me, including his boss, because his boss is the one who wanted me. He kept saying structure, 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 structure. And I kept saying space, 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 space.
Right.
And looking back on it, I
That
think
was it.
that was my undoing.
That was the divorce moment right there.
Yeah, that was my undoing because I think he thought I was going to be a disruptor or not corrallable, so to speak.
Or the wild card. I don't know. I
Okay,
don't,
so yes, the wild card. The
and
wild card is I'll take that. That's probably, and for the people who are inherently structure, they ain't trying to have no wild
the
cards.
wild card. And so for
Right.
the just for more background, I guess for the ones that know Teddy and don't know me, right? I had a similar thing where television opportunities are available and people are emailing me like, "Hey, listen, nothing's on the table. We just want to talk to you. Here's an invite. We just want to, get you in a room with some people and things of that sort, right?" So I do these Zoom calls with these, and I'm not talking about major. I'm not talking about ESPN or anything like that.
Right. But it's still.
I'm just talking about growing networks that maybe in a few years you'll see who they are. So we have these
Truth
moments.
be told, they need a guy like you.
Well,
truth be told, they need a guy like you. But okay, that's neither here nor there.
no doubt, no doubt. I already know the thing about, and maybe we'll talk about this on a future
Right.
podcast if we can ever get to it, about diversity hiring and inclusion and things of that sort. But my thing is, in those interviews, right? People are loving me, texting my phone during the interview, giving me the thumbs up, the thumbs up emoji and all this stuff during this ice breaking process. And they say things like, they were using terms like, we need somebody that's going to be a team player. We need people, the first ones in the gym, the last ones to leave. We need people that are going to bring leadership, embrace leadership, establish leadership, and follow leadership. Right. These things, team player,
we need a conformist.
Basically,
we need a conformist is what we're saying we need.
And I am maybe in a lot of, at my best, I'm a firework, right? At my best, I'm a firework. The same thing with Teddy. As long as we're in the barrel, everybody likes us. But when we shoot off and go crazy, people are like, that may have been too much.
Woo!
That may have been
settle down, partner. Settle down, partner.
And ironically, we shared a boss, right? Who I think Teddy and I have like similar traits when we meet people. Like, you're not going to be able to just say certain things to us. We take things a certain type of way. We're going to say the first things that are on our mind. Like legit, my backspace button doesn't have any letters on it right now. I just know it's a backspace button because I may have done something I shouldn't have, and then I have to go back and hit the backspace button. You know what I mean? But my thing is this. In certain circles, I feel like the corporate bullying is just as outrageous as the primary bullying, like in schools and stuff.
Well, those kids don't get rehabilitated. And I want to talk about kid bullying on a different episode because I know we're running long here. Those kids don't get rehabilitated. And in fact, no disrespect to anybody, people seek positions of power, politicians, policemen, authoritative roles, your managers, even
your librarians,
all of it. The guy who runs the cafeteria at your corporate headquarters, they ascend to these things in a lot of regards because they have a control issue or a power complex.
May I add something else to that?
Sure.
Because I agree with you, and I want to expound on what you just said. I just want to add one element to it also. A lot of those people that are in those positions have also met bullies early on that made them conform. And so they never had the ability to spread their wings and be greater than they otherwise would be if they at least tested the waters. Now, all they know as a conformist is to range in people that are not that won't conform and push the agenda of those that continue to bully. So
you're giving them too much credit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so the guy
I call them soft,
huh?
So I just call them soft.
They're not soft. They're bullies.
No, not all the bullies. Not all the. I get what you're saying.
Not all bosses are bullies. Not all bosses are bullies. But people that are
and
bullies,
not all bullies are bosses, by the way.
No. No, there are exceptions. So you remember you and I worked at a company together, and I had a manager that we knew we did not get along, right? And we knew he was going to take over the manager spot. So whatever, we tried to make it work. And he told me, he goes, "You're the best we got in North America. You're the best we got in Europe. You're the best we got." We were doing China and India at the same time. He's like, "You're the best we got." And I was like, "Well, I appreciate it." And then he hits me with, "But you're not going to do it your way anymore. You're going to do it my way." And I said, "Well, then I'm not the best we got."
Right. If we're doing it your way, you are the best we got.
You're the best we got. I said, "I'm not the best if I can't." I told the guy that the control guy in my last interview, I told him that story, and I think it scared him off.
Right.
Because I mean, again, if I'm the best, then
why would I have to change?
Then what are we talking about?
Right. It's the classic Reggie Jackson and George Steinbrenner issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
if you knew he was the best and you went out and recruited him and paid him more than everyone else, why would you bring him here and expect him to be like the guys that you know he is better than?
Right. Yes, I'm the straw that stirs the drink.
Yep.
The Reggie special on maybe Netflix or whatever was fascinating, by the way. Fascinating. He's quite a character.
Part of the other thing too, I feel like we are in an era of everything is over managed. I think the over managing in society is so bizarre and strange that you see managers, and I'm not talking about anybody in my past. So if you see this and you know me, you know I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about in general, right? The managing now is so bizarre and strange that people will be in that manager's position that really can't even do the job that you do, but they're over a group because they manage tasks well.
Okay, so that is that's been a trend for a long time, but it goes deeper than that. All of this micromanaging and homogenization and manage and corralling us is to make better consumers out of us.
Right.
We're easier to lead. We're easier to control. We're easier to manipulate. We're easier to sell to. And again, I think we talked about it a while back. If you just do what I tell you, it'll be easy for you.
It'll be easy for you. But
in fact, you might do better. And so it's all a part of the master plan, brother.
All right. Also, on that note, I am going to get into the song of the day. Right. And the song of the day is a song that's near and dear to my heart. Right. Okay. It's just a fire joint. I'm gonna put it on the screen and you tell me what you think.
Ooh. I love it.
So my song of the day, as Uncle Freezy's song of the day, is a song called Dear Mr. Fantasy by a group called Traffic. Right. And it's not because I initially liked or loved or listened to the group Traffic. It's not because of that. It's actually because I found out that the lead singer of said group Traffic is a dude that I used to love back in the 80s, and I had no idea he was in a group. He was a part of the second British wave?
Right.
The second British wave? The group, the wave with the Who and all those guys in it.
Yeah, he came in right after the Beatles and the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been in the Black Sabbath.
No,
but he was in with the Who. He a little different than Led Zeppelin. He came in with your Yardbirds and Cream and Rolling Stones and all of that.
Right. So not the 65 era Invasion, but the 68, the 67, 68, 69 second group. And not that group that he's talking about either, that 71, 72, 73 era. right?
No.
In the middle of that group, for instance, in that era of Joe Cocker, another guy that I absolutely love, right? Another dude I absolutely love. He redid a song by the Beatles called "With a Little Help from Your Friends," and when you hear Joe Cocker's version of that, you have no idea that song rearranged came from the Beatles. At least I didn't.
Do you want to hear a funny story about that song?
Sure.
When we got the twins home from the hospital, they spent weeks in the NICU because they were so little. We called them Taco and Burrito.
Right.
And so they had a staff at the hospital that was there and dealt with the twins every 2 hours. So we became the every 2 hour staff. And so we watched a lot of Malcolm in the Middle. And when the Wonder Years, I don't remember if it was before Malcolm in the Middle. So you're talking about 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 in the morning, right? The Wonder Years came on after maybe Malcolm in the Middle. And when the twins were always a little whiny and a little whack, 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 especially at 4 in the morning. When Joe Cocker comes in, when that music starts on the Wonder Years and Joe Cocker starts, the twins stop
Right.
every time and just watch the TV, and they quieten down so they can take their bottles and go to sleep. So we love With a Little Help from Our Friends.
Bro. And With a Little Help from My Friends describes the 2 hour shift, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask so with my song of the day out of the way, and what I would suggest to all you guys watching us and following along with us, first subscribe to the channel. Ensure you just subscribe to Teddy Dust, right? Or Vibes and Stuff. I'm revamping Vibes and Stuff. It kind of got a little bit out of pocket, so
The vibes were off.
yeah, and it was more stuff than vibes, right?
Fair enough.
So I'm gonna revamp that a little bit, but subscribe to Vibes and Stuff, and follow along. Keep track of this song of the day. I guess eventually it'll be a playlist we can add to. I'm gonna see if we can add it as a playlist to Teddy Dust eventually. If we get enough songs, maybe.
The problem is Salt and Pepper is probably gonna trip the algorithm, and we're gonna get Supersonic and Tony and all this other stuff that comes with the algorithm. But
yeah. But so I'm gonna ask Teddy. I'm gonna let him surprise me on his song of the day. So what is the Teddy Dust song of the day?
So first, let me say I saw Traffic. Coco and I saw Traffic a couple of times at RFK Stadium opening up for the Grateful Dead back in the mid 90s. So we got to see them live, which was pretty cool. My song of the day, I have a million, but you pin me in on one, is Instant Karma by John Lennon. And it's real simple. Do you remember probably 92, 93 when Nike came out with the Instant Karma ad for like the Huarache?
Right. Yeah.
And then everybody was all up in arms. Oh, they're preaching a different religion, blah, 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 blah. I'll never wear Nike again.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. So you're talking about 92, 93. It was just a glorious time for me. It was a glorious time for Coco. I'm not a huge fan of the song, but I heard the song and it took me all the way back to riding around in my little white Toyota Celica. You remember the cars that had the pop-up headlights?
Yeah.
It had the pop-up headlights and a sunroof. And I didn't think it could get better than that in life. Coco and I getting lost on the way to concerts or getting lost on the way to here and there. But we sure had a lot of fun in that little white Celica. So Instant Karma came on and it took me instantly back. So I had instant nostalgia.
Instant Karma, instant nostalgia. All right. So everybody, listen, thank you for rocking with us. This is the Salt and Pepper Podcast, episode 3. Teddy has a growing podcast called
And
Teddy.
there'll be more content coming in the next few days and weeks.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to work on getting that put out there for everyone. So if you see this on social media, just share it with others. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on X, follow us on where else? YouTube. Anything else while we're out the door? I don't know if I should open up the door to let Teddy say anything else because we may be here for 30 more minutes.
We may be here for 30 minutes. Hey, just subscribe, everybody. We'll try to keep up. You tell us what we're doing right, tell us what we're doing wrong. We'll try to make it better.
All right. And so peace and salute to everybody. We're out of here.